Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. And today I'm coming at you with Cyber Dragons, bro. It's been a while since I've been waiting like a children waiting for his presents on Christmas that I've been that excited, anticipating a deck. Oh, man, I've been wanting to play this deck for a long time. Brother, my big brother, the man who taught me how to play Yugioh, basically my sensei, he plays Cyber Dragons. And we have this weird rule with each other where if one of us has a deck, we don't build it because we don't like to have the same decks as each other. It's a weird rule, but we just respect it. So because he has Cyber Dragons, and he's had them for a long time, especially back when they basically got Nova, Infinity, and Cyber Network and stuff like that, and just got the first wave of good support, like he was playing it then, like I chose to never build Cyber Dragons because it's out of respect of the rule that we have for each other. But you know what? I really have been wanting to play this deck for a while. I really have. And because I couldn't borrow it from him, and I really want to play this deck at the next event that I go to, I decided to pick up Cyber Dragons. So I'm very happy to present this deck to you guys. It was hard work building it, testing it, taking stuff out, putting stuff in, sacrificing what I want for what I need. And this is the most competitive build that I can come up with. Based on what is in the playing field right now. I feel that Cyber Dragons has a really strong matchup against the absolute best decks. This is the best deck going second. It really is. There's no better deck going second. I'm sorry. There's just nothing better than Cyber Dragons for going second. It slaughters every meta deck, and it has like really no bad matchups. It's crazy good. So let's hop into the list, you guys. All right. So starting off with your monsters, of course, you want to play 3 OG Cyber Dragons. I mean, this card alone can already break boards, break extra links, link off Colossuses so that you can search more, so that you can search. It's very good paired with core. It really helps out a lot, setting up a lot of combo plays. Obviously, this is a really good card, and it's good to open up with it going second. Like it's not a bad card to draw. It's a simple effect, but he gets a lot of work done for you. He gets the job done, and you know this is one of your main targets for Nova, so you can keep going with your rank 5 plays or keep going with your link plays. Just a really good card. Love this card a lot. Man, because I watched the show, you know. That's how I got into the game, from watching the show. And I love Zane Truesdale, you guys. I definitely like... Zane Truesdale, to me, was like the Kaiba of that era. And Kaiba's like my favorite character. And Zane Truesdale is so much like Kaiba. It's crazy. You've got this guy whose main deck is based on a dragon. Not a real dragon, but it's like a dragon. And then so many of the monsters actually are based off of him. And it's an OTK deck. It's so cool, man. But yeah, euphoric feeling playing Cyber Dragon. So you have 3 OG Cyber Dragons. Next up, the most dangerous card in your deck. I mean, bro, honestly, this deck is dangerous. It really is. It's a scary deck. I don't think anybody wants to get paired up with Cyber Dragons intentionally. I mean, honestly, I'd rather play against Gokis or Sky Strikers than this deck because I know how this deck can break boards very easily. And something really cool with Core is it actually does everything for you. I play some different targets in the deck, some targets that are either at one-ofs or played at none at all. And because of those targets in my main deck, Core is very flexible for me personally. I'm able to do a lot of my dirty work with Core, and it's really powerful. It's arguably the only card you want to normal summon in the first place. He gives you a lot of synergy for going second. And believe it or not, just one Core can actually break an entire established board of like 7 monsters. You can just normal your Core, search your Cyber Emergency, contact Fuse into your Mega Fleet or your Fortress, and then you activate Cyber Emergency, search Eltonin, Special Eltonin, send all monsters on the field to the grave. And if you're going second against an extra link Goki board, all you have to do is just bait Trigate or just special summon Cyber Dragon, contact Fuse their board away. Normal Core, search for Emergency, search for Eltonin. Eltonin, when he summons, sends all other monsters face up on the field to the graveyard. So you literally break any board just with the Core. Like, even if there's no negation, if there's no disruption and his effect can resolve, one Core can clear a field of 7 monsters. Do I have to reiterate that? I mean, bro, one Core clears the field of 7 monsters. I told you guys, this card is dangerous. It really is. Like, Core is your best follow-up. I dedicate a lot of my plays to setting up to where no matter how I end, I always end with a Core in my hand. So I'll abuse the next card that we're talking about. But yeah, Core is amazing. You can obviously send it in your grave with your Foolish, just so that you can get a Cyber Dragon for your deck, and then that way you can get a Contact Fusion play. Really powerful card. Core is like the best card in the deck. It really is. And then we have triple copies of Hers. Hers or Hairs, however I'm pronouncing it. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But yeah, Hers is a really good card. What I like to use them as is actually the 3 extra copies of Core that I need. Because whenever I use his effect, I'm sitting like 10 times out of 10, I'm using him to grab Core from my grave to my hand. Unless I don't have a Core in my grave, then I'll search for a Cyber Dragon from my graveyard to my hand, because I don't like to use hers from deck. I really don't, because the only thing that you can grab from your deck with hers is actually the OG Cyber Dragon, and I don't like to search him. Like, I really don't. I don't mind opening with him, but like, you need 2 in your deck at all times for your machine dupe. And if you're using a Hers to Surface Cyber Dragon, I feel like it's a waste of a play, because you already can, you know, get access to your Cyber Dragon really quickly. So I just really like to use hers just to maintain my resources in a very, very correct and responsible way. Just using him to continually loot my core. Like, I've played games with just 1 core, just continually recycling that same core, resolving hers. I'll even rev system my hers and then use Cyber Dragon Infinity to attach hers as him as a material. Then when I negate with Infinity, hers hits the grave and I add a core from my grave to my hand and I have a follow-up for next turn. So I'm really smart with the way I use my hers. I like, if I cannot use it to get core, then I really prefer not to use it, but almost every time I'm using it to get core back, unless I'm doing a play with Galaxy Soldier, just so I can do a 2-card combo off Galaxy Soldier to end on the rank 5. But other than that, hers is always going to get you back your core. If he's summoned, you can also, if he's special summoned, you can also make him a level 5. That rarely comes up, but it's just something that can be very useful for you. And then next up, we're playing triple Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is actually better going second for me. I mean, going first, it allows you to set up plays without using your machine duplication, which is really good. Because, you know, while machine dupes at 3, you're not always going to see it. But this guy really helps for when you're going first. But I think he's better suited for going second, because what Galaxy Soldier does for me is he sets me up for these plays: Overload Fusion, Cyber Repair Plant, Cybernetic Overflow, and also Cyber Eltonin. Those are 4 powerful plays that I prefer to be set up, and they require a setup. Eltonin needs a setup, Repair Plant needs a name in grave, Overflow needs names in grave or field, but I prefer grave because I want to banish my monsters from field. And then also, what was the last play? Yeah, I said Eltonin, Repair Plant, Overload Fusion, there we go, and then Overflow. And then also, occasionally, Galaxy Soldier can also set you up for your Rev System, because Rev System can bring stuff back from grave. So, overall, he just sets up plays, and he's a great way to bait negations, because this is a really dangerous card as well. I mean, people don't really want you to get 2 Galaxy Soldiers on the field and go into a Nova, and then, you know, OTK with the Nova, like Nova Seeker is still pretty powerful. You know, that's a lot of damage, you know, but yeah, it's a really good bait, and that's what I use him a lot for going second. I rarely ever like intend to keep them on the field or intend to use them, but if they don't negate his effect, then fine, I'll use them and go into rank 5. But I really love using him to load my grave up and to bait plays, bait disruptions. Yeah, it's a really good card. People will even Widow Anchor this card, and I like that. And if this can bait an Ash Blossom, like for example, if I have a core in my grave, I will actually set up Galaxy Soldier as Chain Link 2 and hers as Chain Link 1, because I care more about getting my core back than I do about getting another Galaxy Soldier. And that's just how I play my deck. You know, everybody plays different. But yeah, 3 soldiers. We have 1 copy of Vire. I prefer to just play this guy at 1. After you resolve it 1 time, you don't really need it again. You can always put it back with your Cyber Repair Plant. For the namesake, you can play a second one, but I just feel that all you need is 1. That's just my opinion. I mean, it is Cyber Dragon on field and grave, so it has applications going second for your Chimera Tech family. It can help you to chain block. The boost doesn't really matter, because normally you're going into Nova and stuff like that. And Seeger's the only guy that would get the boost from this, because Nova is not Cyber Dragon while on the field, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a really cute card. It's cool. The best benefit, I would say, out of it is it's a different level, so you can pop 4 with Overflow instead of 3. And that's the main reason for even playing it in the first place. But it has applications outside of that particular scenario. Then we have 1 Yugioh. I feel it's very imperative. In fact, not just imperative, it's like it's a necessity. If you have the ability to search a Kaiju, you should main deck your Kaiju, because Sky Striker is still a good deck, right? I mean, this deck's Sky Striker matchup is pretty free. Like, it's easy. It really is. It's like one of the freest matchups ever, honestly. And this is one of the main reasons. You just Kaiju a Sky Striker player, and now that since their Widow Anchors are dead, what you do is you just go into your Overload Fusion, summon Chimera Tech. Chimera Tech will pop all their back rows, including their Widow Anchors, and then you can eat the Yugioh with either a Fortress, or you can just absorb it with Infinity. And then that way, when you go to attack for game, they can't Widow Anchor your monsters, because you just pop them all with Chimera Tech, and they can't respond with their Widow Anchors because your Yugioh is in their main monster zone. If they have shared rides, you're still going to kill them. It doesn't matter what they draw. You're going to kill them for infinite. So yeah, Yugioh is really good. And it also really helps against Thunder Dragons too, which is just something food for thought. Because Cyber Dragon plus the Kaiju outs both Colossuses. Impermanence plus Cyber Dragon outs Colossus. Like, this deck, I'm telling you, it has a really good matchup against everything. and then one Eltonin. A lot of the good deck profiles that I saw, like, because I seen profiles from back in like September and August. I think the one that I liked the most was actually from Blair Hunter. And I just wanted to see how people were playing it, and I was like, a lot of the stuff I didn't agree with, card choices wise, but you can't knock the player. But a lot of the profiles I saw were not playing Eltonin, and they were not playing Yugioh, like at all. And I think those were, even Blair, like, he's a good player, but I think that is a mistake that he did make by not playing these cards, because these have yield some of the best and greatest results, high impact, extremely high ceiling cards. I mean, resolving this card is such a detriment, an impediment on the progression of your opponent's plays. You're completely wiping their board, bro. Like, Eltonin is a board wipe that doesn't target it and doesn't destroy. And it's incredible, like, because you always follow up in the OTK. Even a cool play with Eltonin that I've done, because I play Cyberload Fusion. That's another card that I saw even some of the best players running Cyber Dragons. Sam, Team Samurai X1, and Blair, they weren't playing Cyberload Fusion, and they weren't playing Eltonin. This is why I feel that some of these one-ups matter. One of the best plays you could do with your Eltonin is actually, you can basically, when you resolve your Eltonin, banishing your guys from grave, you send all monsters on the field to the grave. Then you follow up with your Overload Fusion, and you shuffle back as many Cyber Dragons as possible, summon Chimera Tech, and then you blow up all their back rows. So now you've wiped an entire field. For my hero players, this is the equivalent of mass changing your Absolute Zero. And Acid blows up the back row, and Absolute Zero destroys the monsters, right? That's just like that. If that's the best way I can make sense of it for your hero players, or just for anyone to understand that that's wiping an entire field. All the back rows, all the monsters. So that means it's open season. There are no cards on the field to stop you. You just attack directly for game, because Chimera Tech's going to have 3 attacks. You have this guy, he's going to have 15 to 2,000. If you follow up with the normal summon, that's already overkill. You have a ref system, which is searchable. You have all these crazy plays to make. Like, Eltonin Overload Fusion is game. Why? Because you wipe the whole field and attack for way over 8,000 damage directly. You don't even have to worry about attacking over monsters. So yeah, Eltonin is way too powerful to not play. And if you're not playing it, I feel that you're making a mistake, but it doesn't make you a bad player for not doing so. Next up for our hand traps. And remember what I was telling you about Core. Core actually breaks any board, because if you main deck Eltonin, Core can break any board, which is broken. But anyways, our hand traps, we have a triple Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is pretty good. It just has applications in every matchup for every deck, even Rogue. And then we have triple Winter Chairs. This is actually, this and my double Drone Lockbird are actually my main deck counters to FTK. Because this deck likes to go second, and because of that, decks like FTK decks, which prefer to go first, are normally, whether they win or lose the dice roll, they're going to be able to play in their comfort zone. Does that make sense? They want to go first, and you're letting them going first. Even if I win the dice roll, I'll let you go first, because I want to kill you. I don't want to waste time. But don't get me wrong, this is a flexible deck, and Cyber Dragon can both go first or second. So don't ever get the misconception that Cyber Dragons go first and they lose. That's incorrect. You set up Infinity, Seeger, Griffin, and Overflow. Bam. It's crazy. It's awesome. But yeah, these easily beat the FTK deck. You draw them, but I much prefer to Cherries. Because what you can do with Cherries is, before they even can stun you with Azathoth, you can actually just Cherries. And I was already playing Cherries for Firewall, for Gokis and Dark Warriors before the FTK basically came into existence. And it has, I guess it has got a little innovative. They have proliferated a lot with the mechanic of the deck and figured out ways to play around hand traps. But I was already ready for the FTK deck before it got popular. Like, I've been preaching Cherries, you guys. I've been preaching Cherries for a long time. I've been preaching Cherries for super duper long. So yeah, this card was gonna go on my deck whether the FTK deck came into existence or not. But yeah, I have this to stop the FTK and the Drolls to stop the FTK. And also keep in mind, if you're going to second against a Goki player and you have no hand traps, you're still gonna kill them anyways. They can Gumblar you, and you'll discard your Hers, discard your Core. They're giving you plays. Your Hers is gonna give you a name, give you a Cyber Dragon back. Your Core is gonna give you a Cyber Dragon on field. You're gonna break their extra link with Chimera Tech, and you can just follow up with the Core, and it's game over. Like, or just an Eltonin or an emergency. Like, it doesn't matter that they Gumblar you. It really doesn't. You will still kill them, especially when they Gumblar you and you have the choice of what you discard, and you're just like, I discard Core and I discard Hers. Effect of Hers to grab my Core back from my graveyard to my hand. they Gumblar you again. You're like, okay, I know I want to keep my core on my Cyber Dragon, and then you'll end up having 3 cards instead of 2. Then you special your Cyber Dragon, fuse their field away into Mega Fleet. Normal summon core, search for emergency. Remember what I was telling you, search emergency. Grab your Elton in, bro, break their whole board, they're dead. Like, it's crazy good. So you don't even have to draw hand traps to kill Gokis. I just really wanted to reiterate that. But you do play 8 monster hand traps, and then I also play impermanences and evenly matches because I just really I feel that since I'm going second, I want to have a fair just as much of a fair chance of winning as somebody who's going first does. And that's why I crafted my main deck the way I did. And what's really cool is a lot of these hand traps like Droll and Winter Cherries and Evenly Match are really good side out fodder. So that way you don't take away from your engine. You just side out cards that don't have synergy going first in the first place. So yeah, I think this deck is really very well put together with just my thoughts, my synopsis based on how good the deck is and what it can and can't do. I wanted to alleviate for some of the weaknesses, implement a lot of different stuff for strategic enhancements just to make the stronger, where it's strong at, make it stronger, and where it's weaker, you know, you want to play some cards that can help deal with this deck's weaknesses. Now for our spells, we have Triple Machine Dupe. This card is really good, you guys. It's good for going first and going second, but this is normally the main reason why you can end on your Infinity Griffin Overflow. This is like the main reason. I really don't know how to do it without dupe. Like I'm not the Cyber Dragon god. I don't know how to do the Infinity Griffin Seeker and Overflow board without a machine dupe. But with the machine dupe, yeah, I know how to do it, and I taught myself because I was asking everywhere, nobody wanted to teach me. And I was like, man, this sucks. So I guess I have to learn how to make that board by myself. And I taught myself. Then next up, we have 3 Cyber Emergency. If you Ash Blossom this, I can't get it back. Ash Blossom's not negating the activation. She's just negating the effect. But if you negate the activation of this, yes, sirree, Bob, I can grab it from grave to hand. So yeah, it's a really good card. I like it a lot. This card as well can just break boards. Like this card or core can just end up breaking a board. Like if you just have like, for example, a Cyber Dragon, and you special him and then go into a Mega Fleet or a Fortress, and you follow up with this to search Elton in, you can special Elton in, and then, you know, send everything away. Especially if you already could get another Cyber Dragon name in your grave. And then you'll just follow up with the core, normal core, search Cyberload Fusion. And then you can actually, if you want to, you can contact fuse the Eltonin and the core. Oh, I'm sorry, not contact fuse. You can use the Eltonin and core to make Seeger, and then you can basically, you know, attack with Seeger and then Cyberload and just do it. Try to do it as much damage as you can. But yeah, keep in mind when you do the Cyberload Fusion, which is something I forgot to point out, is that for the rest of the turn, you can't actually, other monsters cannot attack. So basically, you have to play it from hand and battle phase. Unless you already have like enough damage just off of the Chimera Tech alone. But normally when you do the Eltonin and the Cyberload Fusion play, like it's normally just to break the entire board. Because keep in mind, Cyberload Fusion does have the drawback and restriction of the monster you summon is the only one that can attack. But if you want to, you could just Cyberload Fusion in your main phase 1, do summon Chimera Tech, and then do his effect to dump 2, and then he gets 3 attacks. That way you still do a lot of damage. You can still end on Infinity, hopefully Overflow after you've wiped their board clean and done that much damage, and you pass. But yeah, Emergency, I use it a lot for Eltonin. And if I don't need Eltonin, sometimes I'll use it for core just to get my plant and get my Kaiju, just in case I need the Kaiju. But I normally search some of my kooky one-ofs off of this because all my other stuff's already at 3 and I see it pretty often. But if I have to, I'll use this card on the core because core is pretty broken, you guys. It really is. And this in Machine Dupe is the equivalent of a core and Machine Dupe. And then we have 2 Repair Plants. So Repair Plant, I like it at 3. I really prefer to play it at 3. But for this list, I had to cut back on some cards, and this was one of the cards that I cut down to 2. Not because I break on it, because honestly, you're going second all the time, and it's not an issue at all getting your names engraved. You contact fuse for any of your Chimera Tech families. Not only do you break their board, but now you set yourself up for this play. Foolish does, Galaxy Soldier does. There's a lot of ways you can set this up. It's not a dead card, contrary to what people think. That's why I don't like when some people, I see them playing 1. I think that that's incorrect because this card will come up. The second time that this card comes up is normally when you're putting back your Eltonin or putting back your Kaiju or putting back your Galaxy Soldier. That way you can search them out and resolve their effect for a second time. So yeah, 2 is absolutely correct. You can get away with 3. I'm telling you, it will not break as much as you think it will. And sometimes it's good to max on your searchers. Then we have double rev system. I actually play two because one of my machine dupe combos revolves around having two of this, and it is for the Infinity Griffin board, which is just machine dupe, core, and a rev system. And then you get your core and you search your second rev system. And off of that 3-card combo, you can end with Infinity, Griffin, Seeger. And if you're blessed and fortunate and you already had Overflow in hand, or if you already had like double rev system in hand, you can just end with the Overflow still. So yeah, double rev system. And whatever guy you bring out, it can't be destroyed by card effects. And that's pretty amazing. Titan can't out it. Basically they have to shuffle it or, banish it. Or just basically get rid of it without destroying, which is really good. A lot of people forget about that. And also, it doesn't specify targets. So, it's really hard to dictate or even, anticipate what exactly you're going to bring the opponent, for them to anticipate what exactly you're going to bring out with this card. It's really good. Then next up, I played double Overload Fusion. I think this card is amazing. There were times when in really weird games where I basically did my Cyber Dragon plays, and then I fused off with him, and then I ended up getting my hers. Basically, no, I'm sorry, not my hers. That's what it was. I ended up summoning Cyber Dragon and then summoning Vire because I summoned Cyber Dragon, fused into Chimera Tech, and then linked with the Vire and the Chimera Tech to go into Seeger because Vire is a Cyber Dragon on field. And then I basically, I Eltoned my whole board away. And I did that because I wanted the Seeger. I just wanted to load my names, but I shouldn't even have summoned the Seeger. Honestly, I didn't need to. But I ended up Eltoning the board, and I Eltoned. That's what I did. I did the Cyber Dragon. I contact fused for that Chimera Tech dude, and then because I still summoned my Vire, and then I went into my my Eltoning. Then I normal summoned my core. Got his effective search. I linked with the Eltonin and the core to go into Seeger, and then I used Rev System to bring the core back, and then linked him and Seeger into I think it was some Summer Sorceress. Then I Overload Fusioned for Chimera Tech, and then I used Summon Sorceress to target Chimera Tech. Brought out another guy, and I was only able to attack with the Summon Sorceress and the Chimera Tech, but I basically got another a rank 5 play after that, which is really cool. And there are other weird scenarios where this card actually can get you to your core. Because whenever you summon Chimera Tech, even in a simplified game state, you can always use his effect to dump both hers and core. And then as long as you already have valid target, hers will target your core, and core goes from your graveyard to your hand. So this card basically is like playing extra copies of core, just in awkward game states. But there are so many weird scenarios when Overload Fusion has not only helped me to get game, but it's like that play I was just talking about where I Eltoned the board away. And did my core play, normal summon core after I special Cyber Dragon Veer, did my whole play after that, did my Eltonin, and then normal core, got my Rev System off core, linked it up, and I ended up doing the Summon Sorceress, because Cyber Dragon Seeger and core are both the same type, and then the Overload ended up banishing those guys. And I had a full play. And it was like, even if I couldn't OTK, the Chimera Tech and the guy that I summoned off of Summon Sorcerers can still turn into Nova and then into Infinity, which is really cool. So, yeah, Overload is it sets up for so many more plays than OTKs. And that's how I find, like, it's really good at, too. I love this card a lot. It's like won me games. It's been a comeback. Because in crazy game states where you have no cards, but this is the only card in your hand, this card can get you Chimera Tech. Chimera Tech can get you Core. And core can get you another play. And it's all off of one card, which is pretty broken. This is really good. And then the one Cyberload. Overload Cyberload is a really good way to go for game 2. Because, even if you can't get any other monsters on field except for your Chimera Tech, or if you have the play where I'd like to do the Cleave Genius and then the Chimera Tech, what you end up doing is you Overload summon your Chimera Tech, and then you do his effect, then you attack as many times as you can. And then still in battle phase, you flip this, and then you summon another Chimera Tech, and then you attack with that one for game, which is really cool. But you can only really do it if you have open zones for both your Chimera Techs. But yeah, that's why I like Cyberload. And also what's really cool is it's reactive as a trap, like a pseudo trap, because you can set this and flip it during your opponent's in phase, like for an Altergeist player or a Draco player, and you end up summoning Chimera Tech Rampage on their turn and pop all their back rows during their in phase. Based on however many you shuffle for this. So yeah, this is like a trap. It's very flexible. That's why I like this, and Overload Fusion are really flexible. They're just really broken, you guys. I can explain a lot of interactions, but the ones I wanted to explain was to basically verify that how versatile all my cards really are. And it's just how you use them. Like, if you only use them for what they're commonly used for, you'll never understand the vast diversity of the cards and the applications that they have outside of what they're commonly used for, which most Cyber Dragon players just think, oh, yeah, this is just OTK. But, like, this can get you your core, like I was saying. This can be a reactive trap. That's why I feel like it's incorrect to not play this. And then the Foolish. This is an honorary Cyber Dragon, basically. This is another name. So it adds to my count of Cyber Dragons, because this is the equivalent of a Cyber Dragon, or the equivalent of a core. If you have core engraved, you just dump hers, and then add core back, and then normal summon them and get a play. So yeah, it's very flexible. Sets you up just like Galaxy Soldier. Sets you up for Overflow, Overload. It sets you up for Eltonin. It's just really broken. Yeah, Foolish is too good to not play. I definitely recommend you try it. And next up, whoo, traps, bro. Traps. So triple evenly matched. This is a really good going second deck, but I feel you have an even fairer chance when you're main decking a card like this. I understand that this deck wants its battle phase, but you have to consider it like this. If you're in a scenario where you need the evenly, that means that you need evenly more than you need your battle phase. And if you cannot OTK, or if you cannot play through that many back rows, that's why this is so good against Ultra Guys and stuff. If you cannot play through that many back rows, you will relinquish your battle phase in order to basically 1-for-4 them or 1-for-5 them. And all the advantage that an Ultra Guys player loses from that, and a Draco player loses from that, and Paleos and Sky Strikers lose from that, is well worth what minuscule damage you could have or should have or would have not done. Granted that you could play through all of that. So yeah, it's really good. It's just, I don't have to play into the Widow Anchors now. I don't have to play into all the negates for Ultra Guys, all the floodgates for Dracos. You just evenly them. And then in main phase 2, if you have the machine dupe combo, you can set up a nasty board after the evenly. So evenly is only really impactful if you have evenly and a follow-up. If you have evenly and nothing else after that, it's kind of like ill. But this deck's really consistent. You normally already have a good play, and evenly just complements your hand. The only bad thing is sometimes, like, when you're going second and they Gumblar you, this is not always enough, because, like, this can still be negated by Trigate. So if I know that I can't bait Trigate and then evenly after that, I will just discard the evenly and, like, a hers, and then get a name, and then bust their board wide open with the Cyber Elton, and that way I can still attack. So, you know, just keep in mind, it's good, and sometimes it's just not going to be enough. Sometimes you need it with a follow-up. Evenly is really good paired with other cards, but by itself, all it does is just, like, simplify the game state. But it's like you still need something to set yourself up in a very beneficial position. Next up is Impermanence. This card is amazing. I've actually negated spells with this. Be wary, as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, be wary of playing your spells or traps in the same column of a back row that your opponent has, because you never know if it's an Impermanence or not. Because I've actually negated Demises, Soul Charges. I've negated Twin Twisters off of this card. Not just in this deck, just playing it. In my experience playing this card, I've actually negated a lot more spells than I have monsters. And you just got to be very wary. So yeah, if you're ever playing against Floodgate decks and, you know, like Golkis, I'm sorry, not Golkis, like Dracos, you can always set this card in the column of the Floodgate that's hindering you the most. For example, like Monarch's Erupt, and you can just flip it, negate their guy, and then the Monarch's Erupt will be turned off. Then you can kill them, and with the Chimera Tech, blow up the rest of it. So yeah, it's pretty flexible going first and second. I love the card a lot. I use it more to negate spells and traps than I do to actually negate monsters. And it does help you going second. You can Impermanence the Firewall. They can't FTK you. Which is really cool, because even if they Azathoth in the middle of their combo sequence, they're going to use Firewall's effect to bounce himself. Once they pick the targets for cost, and if Firewall's one of them, even if he's not, you just Impermanence him, and then that gives you a fairer chance to not get FTK'd. But if they can still FTK you, that's fine. You know, at least you got a chance. But yeah, Impermanence is really good. Impermanence Cyber Dragon can break the double Colossus Titan board, because you can Impermanence one Colossus, Cyber Dragon contact fuse with the other Colossus. Titan is super easy to play around, and then you could just kill the Titan after that, which is really good. And then double Overflow. This card's amazing. It actually has to just be destroyed by a card effect, not even your opponent's. If you just read it, if it's just destroyed by a card effect. So I will even use my own Chimera Tech. If I cannot, like, for example, if I cannot resolve this the way I want to, or if it's no point in it, I will use my own Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon and pop this just so I can search any of my stuff. So this is a really good combo piece, and it synergizes with a lot of your good hands, and it's just a crazy good card, you guys. You flip this on in phase for back row decks, and you're popping all their back rows when they just send them that turn. That's so powerful, and you're basically going to be able to OTK them next turn. So This card is really nice, you guys. It just adds to the layers of disruption that you can get turn 1. It's a really broken card. There's no banish for cost. There's no target for cost. So you just can do whatever you want. And sometimes I even banish from field just to get more pops off of it. Next up, our extra deck, we have 1 Seeger, 1 Genius, 1 Hoshinogen, Summon Sorceress, Griffin, and Firewall for the links. Yes, guys, I finally got my Summon Sorceress. I'm so happy. How did I get a place of it in permanence for my subscribers, but forget to treat my own self from my hard work, grinding at my job, trying to make as much money as I can with the Summon Sorceress? This card's broken. You normally end with crazy boards. This is the main reason why you can go Griffin Infinity Overflow. Hippo Shinigens is amazing for your first turn boards. If you can't go into the standard combo, it's Summon Sorceress, you just end with this, Pleiades, and Infinity, which is real strong. Cleave for Genius even helps go on second because you can negate a Colossus, and then that way you can search. Because this just negates face-up cards on the field, which is broken. You can even negate Floodgates. You can negate powerful stuff with this card, so don't sleep on the Genius. And it still has synergy with Machine Dupe. You can Machine Dupe in its zones and then get a search of a Galaxy Soldier, which is really good. It's just, or search your Kaiju or your Elton, just very flexible. And he already protects himself. And love Seeger. I use him a lot to revive him because he's a free link too. This is how you can go into your standard play with Griffin. Because you end up linking with him for Summon Sorcerers and you bring him back. You can just link with him a lot. Because he's a free link too that's revivable because he's Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. And this plus Chimera Tech is just really nice. It's really nice because Chimera Tech gets huge and you just attack a lot. And then we have Mega Fleet, Fortress. Too many OTKs, you guys. The Chimera Tech family is just broken, you guys. I just wish that they were light attribute. That would really help. But yeah, Chimera Tech is just, the family is just broken, you guys. It's just really good. I have some secret spice with this card and this card that I'm not sharing until I top the regionals with this deck. But yeah, I actually play double Chimera Tech because you play the Cyberload. And the second one does come up, believe me, it will. Because this card will get impermanence if they have it. And that's when the second one comes in handy, especially if you have the means to make the second one. You just make the second one, which is really good. And whenever you're doing 2 of these in the same turn, even if you can't kill them, what are these? 2 level 5 machines. That's a follow-up. I'm really huge on follow-ups. I dedicate a lot of my resources to setting up my combos, but I always end with a follow-up, and that's how I play. I play very conservative, but very reactive and aggressive at the same time. But no matter what, I always ensure I have a follow-up because to me, no board is unbreakable. Even when people say boards are unbreakable, they can be broken. This is Yu-Gi-Oh, you guys. Stuff happens all the time that people never anticipate. So I like to always keep a follow-up. This is a OTK that has a follow-up. My hers always sending to grab core. Like, I always need to end with a follow-up. No matter what, I find a way to get core back to my hand, so I have a follow-up. I never end with no cards in hand. That's just bad. That's being a bad player for me, because if my board gets broken, what can I do to reestablish? Then we have double Infinity, double Nova. A lot of OTKs with Nova. Sometimes you don't even need Overload Fusion. Just Nova and then like Seeker. You can just beat over stuff, do a lot of damage. OTK very easily. Nova's effect is not once per turn to boost. So if you have double Nova, I've OTK'd with double Nova. Just literally swinging with the Cyber Dragons. If you don't have Cyber Dragons on field, but you have them in hand, you can still banish. Like if you have Cloggy, extra Cyber Dragons in your hand, this guy banishes them from the hand too if you read his effect. And it'll be 42. And Seeger can still put them at 63, so you beat over a lot of stuff. But yeah, Nova for the OTKs, you guys. Infinity for the negates. This is really good. Sometimes I kaiju them, and like I was saying that play with the Sky Strikers, you kaiju them and then take the kaiju back when you're done popping their back row with Infinity, and then you go for game. And then the Pleiades. I consider playing Volcasaurus and Trishbania. Trishbania is really good for when your opponent has a back row, so that way you could just burn them for time. But this is really good for your Summon Sorceress combo, because even if you're going first and, you know, like this is your game, like game 2 or 3, and you got to go first, you can do your Summon Sorceress play and use her effect, summon one of your guys to her zone, and then you make Volcasaurus, use his effect, and pop that monster that you gave to your opponent, because it's still a monster your opponent controls on their field, and Volk will burn for game. So I've considered Volk just for intermatch procedures. You know, it just is really nice to have. Next up, my side deck is triple Inspector Border and triple Artifact Sanctum and the Scythe. This is for going first. There's some other spice that I have for going first, but I'm not sharing it until I top. Some stuff I just have to keep a secret because I don't want people to steal my spice. I don't mind you guys copying some of my stuff, but some of the stuff I don't want people to net deck me on, and so I got to keep that a secret until I top. But yeah, these are for going first. This easily beats a lot of decks, including the FTK deck, including Trickstars, and including Thunder Dragons. You know, it's just really, really good. And normally, if you can get something else, like it really helps. And keep in mind, you guys, Scythe doesn't activate. It's just like Azathoth, where if it's summoned, it's just a continuous applied effect. It's it's a lingering effect. It doesn't activate. So if you guys want it to better understand it, it's just like Azathoth. It's just like Constellar Pollux. If you guys know who Constellar Pollux is, the effect does not activate. It's just a lingering. As long as it's summoned, you're under it. So yeah, you can actually Sanctum in Border, which is really good. If you have Sanctum in Border, like you've already stunned them for the entire turn. And after that, Cyber Dragon's an OTK deck. It's not an issue. If you can stun them while you're going first, if you can open up with a good stun and make them pass turn because they can't do anything, they are dead, which is really good. Because also keep in mind that Border will stop their hand traps. So they can't hand trap you and they won't be able to stop you from going off. So this is better than Call by the Grave, honestly. It really is because it stops all the hand traps. And it's really easy for you to just set up for your OTKs next turn. It's really nice. Yeah. Even if you just end up using Galaxy Soldier's effect to summon himself, because his effect to summon himself, I don't think it's an effect. But if it is an effect, you can't do that. You know, but I believe you can still bring out Galaxy Soldier just to summon. And, you know, you could still just get a play off of that, which is really good. But, yeah, these are for going first. And then for going second, we have Reboot, double Hatronade, and then double Twin, and then another Kaiju. Because you can never go wrong with more Kaijus, especially when you can open up with it more often. And it will come up because sometimes you can't Repair Plant because I banish a lot from my grave, so Repair Plant won't always be able to recycle. The second one, just to search, comes up in the grind with Strikers, in the grind with Thunder Dragons. Just in general in the grind. This is really good for back row decks like Altergeist, like Dracos, like Trickstars and Sky Strikers. This is really good, especially if they did the multi-roll. You just basically play this, banish all their cards, and their Widow Anchors can't target this, you know, so you're just bouncing everything, and then that way they have no disruptions except for their little hand traps that they have. So this is really good. And even against Altergeist, bounce everything except Protocol. Force them to activate everything right now that they can, but other stuff like Strikes and other cards like that, they just can't activate. And even for the for the Draco matchup, you basically force them to play all their Floodgates right now. And it's better to know what Floodgates they have so you know what play to make, and you know that you're not being played into a trap. Like, you're not basically being fooled or deceived. So like Hatronade is just really good against a lot of the best decks. And then Reboot is just the win button because this is an OTK deck. If you could reboot a trap deck, they're dead. And you can still Chimera Tech them. If they're not going to be dead, you can just Chimera Tech their back rows. So that way, if you're not done killing them, their back rows are done. And then you just have a follow-up. Cards that I've considered are Volk, Trishbania. I have a new build and a list for Cyber Pharaohs. Limiter removal, Cyber Network. I have another Overflow. I was considering playing Twin, but it's just really hard to get them out, you guys. Because Cyber Blow Fusion has to shuffle from the field or the banish zone, and I don't want to get my guys on the field and then make this. It's really hard to do that, so it just doesn't come up in the Panzer and Instant Fusions. If you want to play more combo-centric, I play a balanced ratio of combo pieces and ways to disrupt my opponent, but if you want to play less hand traps and more combo pieces, Instant Fusion is a good choice. I have another Fortress because you can never go wrong with that. More Eltonin, Vire, and then another Repair Plant because there's still other builds where I'm going to play 3 Repair Plant. This is not the only variation of Cyber Dragons. You guys know how I build my decks. More side deck cards could be D-Barriers, the Time Lords, Call Buys. I just felt that right now I'm playing the list without Call Buys. I really have Inspector Border to deal with hand traps, and Inspector Border is searchable. In addition to that, Call Buys only at 2, whereas Ash is at 3, Bell's at 3, Joel's at 3. Your opponent has a higher chance of seeing their hand traps, honestly, and they have multiples, and you just have one Call Buy, and I always draw it at the wrong time. I have bad luck with this card, so I just took it out. I'm not saying not to play it. You play it, but me, it's not for me right now. Another Twin, another Hatronade. Goes in. This deck can play goes in pretty comfortably. More Kaiju. And then, I don't know. That's just a random different rarity of Matan. But that's pretty much it for the deck profile, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Pay attention to all the details because all the information that I share in the middle of the deck profile will really be helpful to you as a Cyber Dragon player. But yeah, I look forward to doing a lot of new content with this deck and winning a lot of events with it. So I appreciate you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. And you folks have a blessed day. Peace.